Welcome to Sleek Notes E-Commerce Boost Podcast, your chance to learn from the e-commerce experts so you can boost your business.
Hey you, we all know it. Cart abandonment is a pain, but with the right emails you can recover some of your lost shoppers, but it's not as easy as it sounds. I've spoken with Roland Pokornyik, who's the CEO of EDM Designer and Chameleon.io, and he shares everything you need to know about creating and sending cart abandonment emails. Here we go. So Roland, welcome so much on the show. So happy to have you here.
Thank you for the invite, Julie. It's my pleasure.
Can you just start out by introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Roland Pokornyik. I'm the CEO and co-founder of EDMDesigner.com and Chameleon.io. It's a startup company that we are working on. So we build a software that helps businesses, agencies, and large organizations to create responsive email templates without coding. That's pretty much what I've been working on in the last 4 years. So I've been neck deep into email marketing, and I've wrote I think maybe even over 100 articles during these years. So I have some experience on many fields of email marketing.
Really cool. Okay, so this interview is going to be all about cart abandonment email and how to design them. Can you just quickly explain what a cart abandonment email is?
Yes. Obviously, there are a couple of good definitions online. So if somebody wants to find a definition, maybe it's better to go online and look for it. But from my perspective, cart abandonment email is a message that is sent mostly by e-commerce companies to visitors of their site who fail to make a purchase. So they added a couple items to their cart, but instead of buying them, they just decided to leave the site.
Yes, and then obviously you use the email to get them back and finish their purchase, right?
Yes, email is a quite straightforward way to do it, but from another perspective, maybe you won't be able to send an email if you don't know the email address of that person. So I think in some cases, for this reason, companies use either paid remarketing options from Google or Facebook, let's say, but the cheapest and more reliable option is to use cart abandonment emails.
Okay, so once an e-commerce site have noticed that way too many people are abandoning their cart, what do you need to know, or what do you need to investigate in order to craft a winning cart abandonment email?
They need to know that at what step of the funnel did the visitor leave the site. So maybe they didn't even get to the shipping part in the funnel. So they didn't enter their credit card information, but the sites just need to figure out where is the stop sign in the head of the visitors. As far as I checked out, most people leave shopping carts because of the high shipping costs or unexpected shipping costs. So I assume that's a main reason for many people to leave.
Yeah. And do you have any idea how to find out where they leave? Is there any way to set it up on your site?
Definitely. If you have proper tracking implemented, then you should know where do these people live. Already in Google Analytics, you can see pages. I think I don't have the right expression in my mind, but you can see that which pages people visit last on your site. So if you check out that data, then you can see that, okay, this is where pretty much most of the people leave the website.
Okay, and let's move on to crafting the email. What are the elements of that awesome cart abandonment email?
The design, I think the design as a whole usually depends on the brand And that's the most important aspect from my perspective, to create email designs which fit the actual website. Because as a receiver of the email, I have to know from the very first site that, okay, where does this email come from? So if I don't know who was the sender, then I will be confused. So that's the most important aspect. From another perspective, I hope that nowadays I don't have to mention that all those emails have to be mobile friendly, because at least that's something which became more affordable. So most companies now have mobile friendly email templates, but this is the fair field where we invested most of our resources. So we know that still, if there might be some providers who say that, okay, we have mobile friendly email templates, but in fact those emails won't work properly in couple email clients. So we usually advise companies to double check if their emails render properly or not.
And where can you do that? How can you check that?
You can either there are some providers like Litmus or Email on Acid who deal especially with email rendering. An even easier approach is to check it just on your phones inside the company, and maybe ask a couple of friends. Or there are some email service providers who build in these kind of email rendering tests into their platform, so they can use their tool there.
Cool. And you just said that obviously the sender must be clear. What other information is vital to have in the email?
From a legal perspective, there's always a footer that should include an unsubscribe link and information about the company. And from a marketing perspective, there should be information about the actual content of the cart that was left behind. So the actual products that were in the cart, but the user afraid to buy them for one reason or another.
Okay, and would you say then include loads of images and colors, or is plain text better?
It really depends. In my perspective, for an e-commerce store, I would expect the images to be present, because when I'm making a purchase decision, I need to see that what I'm buying. So I think this is something connected with the nature of the product to be sold. If it's not a visually appealing item, then imagery is not a must-have thing in the email. From a deliverability perspective, it might be easier to get your emails delivered to the primary inbox in Gmail, for example, if you have very limited HTML in those email templates. But it's always a cutback. So I think it's something which worth experimenting. But for the time being, I would advise companies to use more visual emails and just deal with it, that those visual emails will end up in the promotions tab. And that's usually what users expect to happen.
Oh, okay. And obviously you must include links in the email as well. But where should those links go to? Should they go to the homepage or to the basket or a specific stage in the shopping experience?
The best is if you can take the user right into the shopping, just in the middle of the shopping experience where they left the site. So I think that's the best thing to do. Never direct them to the main page. So that's a no-go from my perspective. So just right there in the middle of the funnel where they left the site, or maybe to a specific page which is designed for cart abandonment.
Now let's talk subject lines. Do they need to be funny, serious, long, short? Here's Roland's input on how to get the receivers to actually open your emails.
It's really important to have some kind of urgency in the subject line. I think That's the key for this kind of emails. The style itself, I mean, the style of the language, it really depends on the brand. So maybe if you have a more serious brand with, I don't know, finance-related products or services, then definitely you should use the more financial, more serious language. But if you have a B2C site and you target young people, then of course you can go and have some cool language in there. So it really depends on the audience and the brand itself, how you communicate with the visitors of the site in other channels.
Interesting. And then obviously in the email, of course we want them to finish their purchase, but do you have any ideas as to how you can ask them in an enticing way instead of just saying finish your purchase?
Yeah, actually, I checked out couple of thoughts on this subject when I prepared for this call, and I saw that as generally used approach is to send more of a help email at first to the receivers. So you don't want to be too pushy right away, because maybe they just stopped for, I don't know, for a simple reason. They just lost internet connection, had to go elsewhere. So it's not something, it was not a on purpose. So they didn't leave your site on purpose. They just had to do something else and forgot to finish the process. So I mean the purchase. So the first email should be more information and less sales. While in the second email, you should focus on really making that sale just right on time. So that one should focus on the urgency aspect of the purchase. So you want to convince the user to just come back to your site and buy that item or the items that they have in the cart.
Yeah, and you want to convince them to go back and finish the purchase. I know there's a lot of debate on whether or not to offer additional discounts or free shipping. What is your thoughts on that?
If you manage to figure out in the very first step why they left your site, then having some kind of discount which connects with that reason, I think that makes sense. Obviously, if you have discounts, it's not that good for your business from a financial perspective. But so you shouldn't overuse the discount in every email you send. I think it's definitely something that's worth experimenting for companies. If a discount like this will decrease their total revenue, or at the end of the day it might have a really boosting effect on your sales, because so it's more of a financial decision, and I think you can only decide if offering a discount makes sense if you look at the final numbers, so not just that given purchase.
Okay, no, because you don't want them to figure out they'll get a discount and then every time abandon cart and then wait for that discount, do you?
Yeah, of course you don't want, but you can have a cap on this. So let's say if you shouldn't send the same style of abandonment email to the same visitor every time they abandon a cart. So if you have a smart system in place for the automation part, then you can decide, okay, this email can go out maximum once a month. So next time they wouldn't receive a discount, they will only receive the reminder part or whatnot, but not that they wouldn't be offered the same discount every time.
So let's just have a look at the timing, because you're just speaking about it, when to send what. When is it the best time to send the cart abandonment email? Should it be immediately after they abandon, or how long should you wait until you send it?
The first email you should send it in an hour. So like almost right away when they abandon the site, but in an hour, because they might be in the middle of finalizing that purchase. So when I'm a frequent online buyer, so I don't visit physical shops most of the time, so I go online. But I check out, I think, depending on the value of the product I'm purchasing, I check out at least 5 websites before I buy one from somebody. That's pretty much what active online shoppers do. So you just have to catch them right on spot to make that purchase on your side instead of others. The second email should be sent in a day. So maybe most likely the next day. So not the same day when you send them this reminder email. And then if you really want to add some incentives, that should be sent another day. So in 2 days from the original, the first. That's when you want to add some discount or whatnot. Maybe it shouldn't be a percentage discount. It can be any kind of other discount. Or maybe just you can offer a free whatever, which they get on top of that item that they purchase.
How many times to send an email? Can you do it too many times?
Yes, definitely. I just saw statistics on this topic, and they said that already like 30% of people are annoyed by abandoned cart emails. So it seems that it's easy to be annoying. So I wouldn't send more than these 3 emails. So that would be all that I send. Maybe you can do the rest through using other remarketing methods like the Facebook advertising or Google AdWords. So you wouldn't flood the user's inbox with all these emails, because that might be super annoying. And that's definitely not something you want to do with a client who returns to your site. And to be able to send these emails, you already managed to get their email address, so they trusted you, and that trust is worth more than a single purchase.
Sure, really interesting. So where can email marketers go wrong as to sending bad cart abandonment emails? Really bad ones. What makes a bad email? Obviously sending it too many times, but what else?
I think the biggest problem with marketing emails and cart abandonment emails is that there's no focus in the message. So maybe I receive an email and while it should only help me to go on with my purchase, I get a bunch of irrelevant information. So if companies lose focus in the email, I think that's the biggest problem.
And what are your 3 major tips when creating cart abandonment emails?
Yeah, the first one would be really the focus part. So only focus on one single conversion goal, which is to get them finish that purchase process that they left behind, and don't offer them additional products, whatnot, because you don't want to frustrate them again. So you don't want any distraction to be in place in the email. The second would be to invest your time to experiment with the subject line, at least if you don't experiment with the design itself, because most of the people decide, actually over 80% of people decide purely based on the subject line to open an email or not. So if you couldn't nail the subject line, no matter how sexy or how trendy your design is. And the last thing is that both the design aspect of the template and the email copy should really fit your brand. If you have a funny brand, okay, you can go for emojis, you can go for animated GIFs, but if you have a more serious brand, just keep it calm and talk their language, because you want to develop a relationship with your customers, which will make you more revenue in the long run. So I wouldn't advise any company to experiment with other styles if they developed already their own brand language.
Great, amazing tips, really interesting. Thank you so much for your time, Roland. That was great.
Thank you, Julie.
That was all for now, people. We'll be back next week. And to keep you busy till then, we've created a bundle of 41 e-commerce emails you should steal in order to keep your email marketing game flawless. Simply send me a screenshot of your 5-star rating to me at jf@sleeknote.com and you'll get this wonderful resource in return. Thanks!
This session of E-Commerce Boost was produced by Sleeknote. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on tactics and strategies that'll help boost your e-commerce.